Now, the one thing that I really do believe that Disney is shooting themselves in the foot with has a lot to do with Bob Iger's cost containment plan that is now entering into its second phase, which, by the way, is going to go active as early as the end of November, leading into the first week of December of this year. That's really going to have a full impact in the beginning of 2024, with thousands of firings of employees within Disney in all different areas, and the purge of Disney content on Disney Plus and more on top of that by raising rates. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about actress Jenna Ortega, this has been a very interesting subject for the past month or two, is that she has been getting closer and closer with Disney and more affiliated with really trying to push her anti-woke beliefs in some areas of the characters that she has been provided by Disney that has actually led Disney to cave in some areas. But this is where things get very interesting, because there's been a lot of complications, so to speak, in between, Jenna Ortega and her team, such as her agent and manager, and the bigwigs over at Disney, right? The Disney heads, if you will, that are really trying to make Pirates of the Caribbean and other upcoming franchises just as big as Star Wars, Marvel, and more, to kind of expand and to kind of really up their branding and merchandise along with that. Now, this is where things get very serious for Disney as a company, and how, of course, Jenna Ortega was a major factor into putting them into such a panicky position. Let's discuss. Now, specifically, with actress Jenna Ortega and her role with Disney evolving along with many issues in between, one major development has to do with what Ortega recently did to Disney that is going to cost them millions, easily. As it turns out, for the past number of weeks, Jenna has been in progress of taking over the Pirates of the Caribbean movies that was originally meant for Rachel Zegler. After many arguments between the Disney heads and Ortega's manager and agent, this led to differences. As of now, Ortega dropped her agreement to do a multi-movie deal for Pirates of the Caribbean, and is now only agreeing to do one film strictly for Disney and wants nothing to do with the rest. As it turns out, this has to do with the fact that Disney was aiming to evolve Jenna's character to hold a relationship with the same gender in future Pirates movies, but agreed to stick with dropping that agenda for at least the first film. Disney was unwilling to let go of this strategy for the further movies, and so Jenna recently informed her team to drop all future discussions for other Pirates movies except for the first film only. Now, let me just say one thing about this, is that we know that Ortega did something similar with Wednesday Season 2. I'm sure that you heard a lot about that drama behind the scenes with Netflix. And again, I mean, the whole Hollywood situation right now, it is a slow turn of the tide, right? Some companies, some studios out there, they have hits and misses. And we've seen what Netflix can do. We have seen what they did with Cobra Kai, amazing series. That's, by the way, going to end at Season 6 for good. And we have One Piece, Season 1, which I believe was a very successful, installment for Netflix. But again, Netflix has a lot of other content that is just complete trash and garbage as well, as much as Universal has a lot of garbage as well as some hits here and there, such as the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which did very well financially. But looking at this, though, everything happening with Ortega right now, and how she literally wants nothing to do with the woke nonsense that Disney does not want to let go of. The fact that they are willing to drop their agenda for her character, at least for the first film, is the only thing that's keeping Jenna intact for the first Pirates reboot movie. Everything else aside, for the Pirates movie deal is now over. She's not coming back for multiple movies, and this is putting Disney in a very awkward position, because they were putting all bets on Ortega to sell this franchise through and through, from film to film, to even a spin-off series on Disney Plus eventually. They want to make this as big as Star Wars and Marvel, like I said earlier in this video. But what's even all the more interesting about this is the fact that we have someone like Ortega, alright, that is using her team, her agent and manager, as, the middle people that are kind of bouncing back her request to Disney because of the whole SAG strike situation. They can't really do this face-to-face per se, but what's interesting about that is the fact that now Disney's in a position where they don't have the correct stardom power for Pirates of the Caribbean to lead this franchise to a successful path. As if they thought it was going to do well with Rachel Zegler, that's just ludicrous and crazy and just pure insanity. But they probably felt like once they got Ortega, that they had an ace in the hole, right? That was going to be like the, the big, winning streak there for them, movie after movie. And now, they only have Ortega for one movie, reportedly, and that's it. Moving onwards, though, this is where it gets worse. Now, this is now putting both Iger and the creatives behind the Pirates reboot, such as The Last of Us showrunner, in full panic mode, mind you, as they now have no clue who to cast in the future for lead characters in these movies that hold stardom power at such a young age. This is why Disney was desperate to get Ortega. Though strangely, Ortega is still in agreement with other animated projects and some live-action works by Disney, that she may very well drop as well after these disagreements and differences. That is something that is being conversed between herself and her team, and that's spiked as of late. This is in turn an ongoing thing that's going to cost Disney millions of dollars now, as Disney is beginning to seriously look into hiring a new main star to take the lead of Ortega's character. As a result, Disney knows the films won't be as popular without Jenna, since she is a rising actress with strong stardom power, and it will continue to get even better. And Disney is now looking to seek an unknown actress to fill in those roles for the future to spend less. Disney is aiming to make Pirates as big as Marvel and Star Wars, as it will stretch beyond one movie, and also make its way to streaming as a spin-off show on Disney+. This is also causing Disney to spend less on the marketing of these movies, as their confidence levels are dropping with the Pirates reboot movies to an all-time low. Now, again, Iger really has no clue what he's doing. If I were him, drop all the other films, just make one Pirates movie and call it a day. That's it. I think that's all we really need. And to be honest, no one's asking for a Pirates reboot. Nobody wants it. I don't want it. If Johnny's not in it, it's, no plan at all. There's no success with this movie without Johnny Depp. There's just no other way to say it. At the end of the day, they realized that, and that's why they wanted Ortega. They need somebody with stardom power. They need somebody that's very familiar, somebody that's very popular, that's really rising, and also widely accepted. And now that Ortega only wants to do one Pirates film, this is making things very complicated, and they are losing out on a lot of money with the rest of the Pirates movies. So, this is interesting. The fact that Iger just never really is willing to give up this whole DEI nonsense, and we all know why, because of who's funding them, like BlackRock and Vanguard, really kind of pulling the strings. They're like the real puppeteers over at Disney, is how I like to actually translate it to you guys. But overall, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I'm not the one. From night to moon.